Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another tactical review live stream. See, I've already got a few people here in the chat. Appreciate you guys joining me. Elias was planning to join, but unfortunately, he is just not feeling well. I don't know if you guys remember. I think it was the last time he was on. He actually had a car accident a couple days before, and yeah, so he's just still dealing with some soreness from that. So anyway, hey, my buddy Josh Roberts is here. Hey Josh, I'm glad you could join, man. That's a guy who knows. Actually, he's got a great story. Hopefully he doesn't mind me telling, because we're a lot of times in these streams we end up talking about statism and far left policies, and Josh shared with me once that when he was in college, like many college students, left-leaning policies seemed like a great idea, and then as he got more life experience, he realized just how terrible all that is. So Mark 18 Mod 0, welcome. I wish I could tell you I had some shots under that optic, and we were underway on some testing, and we're not. I haven't been able to do that yet. 2A's in the 2A and Mateo are both in the chat. So, and I have a few other guys who are planning on joining. Hopefully they can get here. We've got some, some of the typical statist to talk about tonight, and then something. Actually, it's another subject that it's kind of funny or really disappointing, depending on which side of the issue you're on. But hey, brownies for my fat. Welcome. Another regular in the house. So yeah, we'll get a few other, or we'll let a few other people have a chance to get here. We're only a couple minutes in. I've got something of an outline, except that an outline is normally supposed to be in order, and this isn't. So it's going to be just as twisted and messed up as normal. And let's see if we don't start having buffering issues as soon as we start talking down about leftist policies. Seems par for the course, doesn't it? So, alrighty. We are going to get underway. And yeah, I'm going to guess that it'll hold 0. I really think that it feels like it's the same kind of construction as the first one that I was using, that Terminus Optics with the chevron. The difference is that with it using an emitter in there instead of having an actual edged reticle, I don't know if that's going to change anything. And I've not dropped my M&P 15 with that Terminus Optics on it either. I don't know. Again, I'm going to stand behind my decision that I would not trust it with my life. But on just a plinking gun, if it'll almost hold 0, it's probably good enough. 2A, I haven't watched Guns and Gadgets video. I'm not subbed to Guns and Gadgets. I keep meaning to, and then I didn't, and I subbed to a new channel yesterday instead. I don't even remember which one it was. If you guys, I think I have my sub list public, and he talks about military tactics and military like historical military tactics and military gear, and I'm kind of a geek about that stuff. So anyway, but that said, Guns and Gadgets is how I first learned about Indiana House Bill 203. So I definitely should. Vanessa Kitty, howdy. Mateo, any particular reason you unsubbed from Guns and Gadgets, or like just I'm curious as if it's going to be a bunch of stuff that I'm going to get irked by and just do the same. Anyway, honestly, because I know how important subs are to channels, probably I don't unsub from many. Usually I just turn off notifications. But anyway, So I'm sure you guys have seen, and none of us are surprised, that many of the, or all possibly, of the Virginia anti-2A bills have passed out of committee and are now on the main floor of their respective branches of legislature. So I'm not surprised by that. I will be very surprised if any of that gets voted down, very honestly. Beretta Man, howdy, howdy. I hate to say it, but the Democrats have the supermajority in the state. And I get that you can be, an individual can be left of center and still be pro-gun. Yeah, I know a lot. I mean, as a matter of fact, I know guys who would tend to vote Democrat who are actually pro-2A. And if you're watching this and say that those are the same things, you're absolutely wrong. Pro-gun is somebody who, well, I support the Second Amendment, but nobody needs an AR-15. I support the Second Amendment, but my daddy and my granddaddy both hunted with a shotgun, and that's all you need. That's pro-gun. Pro-2A is, you know, hey man, me and two other guys, we went in on a Russian T-75, and we need another crewman. You want to join? We've got to remill it after it gets here. That's pro-2A. Anyway, yeah, Vanessa, absolutely. Those are going to go through, and yeah, Vanessa, there are pro-2A throughout the political spectrum. I'm glad you said that, because I actually forgot 100% what I was talking about. The problem is that as you get into office, and the higher office a Democrat is, it seems like they are actually having a contest to see who can be the furthest left. And so it's coming to a point where if an individual would tend to be Democrat, but they are in fact pro-2A, and they're pro-2A to a point that that's one of their voting issues, which I would think it would have to be, they're going to not be able to vote Democrat come election time, because the Democrats who are in office and who are running for office are all trying to be full-on communist. You know, the new moderate Democrat is last year's far liberal Democrat. It's just all there is to it. Yeah, Beretta Man, I agree. It's who can be the biggest butthole. I mean, if you watched any of the, you didn't even have to watch the debates. All you had to do was watch the conversation on it. The Democratic debates, it was who can be the biggest gun grabber. Never, I don't think ever in history have they been so blatant about their intention to strip the Bill of Rights. Josh, actually, that's because several of the Republicans in Florida are in Michael Bloomberg's pocket. And that's, yeah, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. And that brings another very good point, though. You can't just say, "Oh, I'm pro-2A, so I'm going to vote Republican." I'm pro-life, so I'm going to vote Republican. You have to look at your candidates. We have to all be active in our primary. And if you can be if you can register libertarian, if that's what you are, if you can register third party, there we go. Let me say it that way. If you can register third party and still vote in your state's primaries, then by all means. In Indiana, the way I understand it, if you want to be able to vote in the primaries, you have to be registered as a Democrat or a Republican. And so as such, well, guys, I'm pro-2A and pro-life, so I'll let you fill in the blanks as to how you think I'm registered. But anyway, so yeah, Virginia is getting ready to be the dystopian hellscape that we all were afraid it was going to be. I didn't truly hold out any hope that the rally on the 20th was going to do anything, but there's a little part of me that thought maybe those legislators could look out and see an army 3 times the size of their National Guard if nobody went AWOL over unconstitutional orders, and just hit the brakes. But in some ways, I'm glad that they didn't. Okay, now bear with me, because that sounds absolutely crazy. But I'm afraid that if they would have pumped the brakes, and if they would have said, well, okay, all right, we see your point, but so you can keep your AR-15s, but you know, really you don't need 30-round mags. You know, it would have given them an opportunity to do the compromise thing that we always see, we keep seeing, came from the Democrats, stood for repealing gun laws. Certainly one of the biggest reasons why we left the state 3 months ago. I could see the writing on the wall. Yeah, I guess that's the best way to say it, though. Mark 18, you said it without saying it exactly. We've all got to stay on our toes. We've all got to hold our representatives at every level to the fire. And the more local they are, the easier it is. Just to jump around a little bit, I've joined a Facebook group. I mentioned it last week. In fact, I shared a link to the list of all of the Indiana Facebook groups for 2A sanctuary movements. Oh, and you're absolutely right, Vanessa. Compromising on your rights is having no rights at all. You give an inch, and they're going to take at least a foot that time, and then they're going to keep taking. So, anyway, 2A sanctuary county movement, and part of the... I think I said this last week. Part of the... There's a lot of people who don't understand why we need it. Okay, my sheriff, super constitutionalist. And he said, we don't need us, not to me directly. I think this is his overall thinking, and I'm not going to say he's not swayable. In fact, I think Virginia is going to help a lot with that. But his initial thought process is, well, we don't need a Second Amendment sanctuary, because the Second Amendment is part of the Bill of Rights, which is part of the Constitution, which is the law of the land. I was sworn in to uphold the Constitution. We don't need that. And ideally, he's right. Anybody with an ounce of common sense says you're right. Unfortunately, common sense is sorely lacking these days. Beretta Man, I don't think I have joined 2AEDU's Facebook group yet. In fact, I'm sure I haven't. I follow him on Instagram, and I did not. I've actually had to work the last couple of weeks. That's, sometimes IT guys get, we're just there waiting for something to go wrong, and we've been doing a lot of iPad battery changes, and if you've never done that, it's terrible. Everything is glued to that aluminum chassis. So, Brastard, hear even one of them say that he wanted to enforce machine gun laws. Yeah. Oh, speaking of which, if you guys, I'm trying to remember who it was. I think it's Minuteman. Hold one. All right, just pop over here in another tab, and I've got Instagram open. Minutemen Apparel. I don't know if you guys follow them on Instagram. They've had these really cool in their Insta story, really cool designs for these iPhone stands. Really interesting stuff. for legal reasons, that was a joke. YouTube guy who's watching this and ready to shut me off, I'm joking around. I never would advocate for breaking the law. Anyway, I've missed some things. You guys are talking a lot. That's good. It makes my job easier. Yeah, every one of our rights, not just gun rights. That's true. We like to distill it into, this or this or this. And one of the reasons, obviously, and most of us understand this, I'm primarily a single issue voter on the Second Amendment because the Second Amendment guarantees the other 9 of the Bill of Rights. It ensures the entirety of the Constitution. Excuse me, and we all know that. But yeah, to give up any liberty is tantamount to treason to oneself. He who would surrender an essential liberty to secure momentary peace deserves neither liberty or peace. I think I messed that up. Because sometimes ensuring liberty is not peaceful. Hang on. Somebody help me with that. Excuse me. Ohio needs to go in the right direction, or we will be moving into a pro 2A state. Mark 18, right now Indiana's still rather pro 2A. Senate Bill 203 did not even make it to committee, is my understanding, so that's good. Still waiting to hear. Yeah, I already read that one. We have gun rights in our state constitution. It dies no matter. The lawmakers, they continue to infringe on every right. Pretty soon you ain't going to be able to go to the bathroom without someone's permission. Zeke, thanks for the reminder. Guys, I would appreciate a thumbs up. Appreciate a share of the stream. Well, yeah, we're kind of slow going tonight, but, yeah, I appreciate if you share the channel. That'd help a lot. We are something in the neighborhood of 45 subs away from the 250 giveaway. I'm excited for that. The only thing I don't have on hand is the EDC dump tray, and that's just because Jason over at Four Brothers ran out of the Boogaloo dump tray Kydex. Yeah, he sold out within a week, so which is awesome. Non-Apple fans in here. So interesting thing about that. All technology sucks. Let's just put it that way. At the same time, most technology also has the potential to be awesome. Who would have thought 20 years ago? Let me switch that around. 20 years ago, who would have thought that any one of us, and several of us in the stream, would have the ability to have an audience like this, where this here, where we can have a Pro 2A voice sometimes when YouTube doesn't shut us down. And even if they do, even if I get deplatformed right now, I won't be able to live stream, but I've still got my BitChute account, which has 3 of my videos because they don't reliably pull. I've still got my Gunstreamer account that has all of my videos within, half hour of them going live on YouTube. The fact that, honestly, I can be part of a team that broadcasts my little bitty high school's sporting events for fans and grandparents around the country, around the world even, that's amazing. On the other hand, I just assume that everything I do is in some form, fashion, or whatever, cataloged, and I also assume that I'm on at least 20 watch lists by this point. In fact, I think every video I upload puts me on a new one, but that's neither here nor there. So, all that to say, from a user standpoint, coming from a PC background, that's personal computer, IBM compatible personal computer, not politically correct, not this guy. I have a strong preference towards the Android ecosystem. That said, we are an Apple shop at the school, and I've really there's some things about Apple that I really like. Twice the federal government has told them to build a backdoor into their device encryption and their device unlocking, and Apple has told them to go scratch. If they come with a subpoena for any individual device, as soon as they know that they need it, Apple will help them get into it. But they're not going to build in a backdoor, because any backdoor eventually will be exploited by bad actors, up to and including our own government. But that's neither here nor there. My gut instinct tells me that Google probably wouldn't take the same stand, because Google is an advertising company first. So keep that in mind. I like Google Chrome. I use a lot of Google products. There's a lot of convenience. But to be very honest, none of us would accept Google's intrusion into our privacy if it didn't work well and if it wasn't convenient. So kudos to them for building products that make us give away our privacy hand over fist. I don't know. Stockholm Syndrome, anyone? Bredaman, 2A Sanctuary meeting in his county tomorrow night. Can't wait. That will be amazing if you get footage, any part of that. Godspeed to you guys on that. Excuse me. Brastard out in the desert. I'm guessing you were out in the desert, Brastard, because that's where you find all the cool crap you find. Piece of armor plate, because you found that armored window that one time too. Josh, yeah, probably do need to make a website. It's just something I haven't wanted to mess with, and I probably do something simple like WordPress, and I don't know. I'm lazy. Check out Jonathan Pekin's channel, freedom loving dude for sure. Really fun live stream as well. Okay. There we go, guys. Mod 18's recommended Jonathan Pekin's channel. Pekin? I don't know. I'm bad with names. I really am. Anyway, so yeah, we need to. I will try to. I'll try to remember to get over there and sub to that. GOA is going to be there. Well, then I'm sure I will read about that, because I do follow GOA on Instagram. I'm a GOA Life member now, so that makes me happy to be able to say that I'm a Life member of a Pro 2A group. And speaking of GOA, because I haven't plugged it yet, guys, if you shop at Amazon, who am I kidding? Everybody shops at Amazon. That's just another way that we give up our privacy. And whatever. I have a 20-minute drive to town, so if I can make Amazon deliver it to me, I will. When you shop at Amazon, smile.amazon.com. If you haven't gone through Amazon Smile yet, it's going to ask you to set it up, and Gun Owners of America is one of the groups that you can support. That is... They've got the regular GOA logo, but it's actually Gun Owners Foundation is what you're going to look for. And just in the couple months I've been using it, it doesn't cost anything extra, and I've already generated $3.50 that went to Gun Owners of America. So Amazon is not a Pro 2A organization. We all know that. They've taken down a lot of accessories and things because they're used for assault weapons. So if I can force Amazon to support a Pro 2A organization, better believe it. Smile.amazon.com. Okay. Anyway, thanks, Zeke. Yeah, I know Gun Owners of America just increased their life membership fee, so I did jump in. They had a heads up on their website, so I'm still a cheapskate, but yeah. Anyway, okay, Virginia being terrible. So if you guys haven't seen this, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. I think it was the last time Elias was on with me. Governor Jim Justice on Tuesday, that's yesterday, the 28th, invited Virginia counties weighted down by Democrat gun control to secede from the Old Dominion and become part of West Virginia. West Virginia emerged as a state in 1863 due to overreaching Democrats. And so the governor introduced, governor couldn't introduce, there's a House Resolution 8 said in part, and I'm just going to read this. Whereas Article 6, Section 11 of the Constitution of the State of West Virginia explicitly permits additional territory to be admitted into and become part of this state with the consent of the legislature and of a majority of the qualified voters of the state. And whereas, in a spirit of conciliation, the legislature of West Virginia hereby extends an invitation to our fellow Virginians who wish to do so to join us in our noble experiment of 156 years of separation from the government at Richmond. And we extend an invitation to any constituent county or city of the Commonwealth of Virginia to be admitted to the body politic of the state of West Virginia under the conditions set forth in our state constitution, specifically with the consent of a majority of the voters of such county or city voting upon such proposition. And we hereby covenant that their many grievances shall be addressed. And we further covenant with them that their firearms rights shall be protected to the fullest extent possible under our federal and state constitution. Mic drop. I personally think that every Second Amendment sanctuary county needs to go ahead and just drop an a resolution in their county and city councils to accept this. I think that would be incredible. Because if the Richmond legislator could not look out in the streets and see 20,000 people peacefully demonstrating that the legislator is out of touch with reality, and couldn't consider to themselves, if this many people can be this well armed and be peaceable, what will they bring upon this scarred land if they decide to be non-peaceful? They couldn't get that. So counties just need to leave. I think that'd be amazing. Okay, let's this card, real light red, not green, but light much more. Yeah, I'd really be interested to know. I'm sure at that point it will be run up to the federal government. So I don't know, but honestly, I don't. Excuse me. That should all fall under states' rights, and obviously in 1863, it's already happened once. So yeah. Fix your state, don't ruin another. There's a reason they split. So here's the thing, though. I see what you go. Oh, hey, look at that. I'm buffering. Go figure. It's one of those things that, because when the Democrats got the supermajority back in November, even then I said, any viewers in Virginia, I don't know if the answer is to stand your ground or just head for the hills. And I don't know how much of their government is up for vote this year. I mean, I just don't. At very least, I'm sure this has shaken people awake. But the other thing is that this goes back to what I started with. Do the pro-2A Democratic voters understand the responsibility they have in this to show the elected Democrats how serious they are by voting off party. And I don't know, because that's such a personal thing. You know, and then the question is, are they a single issue voter on the Second Amendment? And that's obviously, I can't tell any of you how to vote. I mean, I can't. I can tell you what I see as a pro 2A voter, but maybe we agree wholeheartedly on. And I know a lot of you, we've spoken enough through Instagram and stuff. This is a hypothetical you, but perhaps we agree 100% on the Second Amendment, but then we get to the pro-life, pro-choice, and you and I just don't see eye to eye. And maybe that's going to change who you would want to see go into office. That's what's great about this country, is also what's kind of killing this country. But I think overall it's apathy. Once again, the two counties closest to me, because I live very close to the border, had 18 and 20% voter turnout for the two counties in this most recent election. So, you know, I just, of course, that's both sides, but who knows who came out more? I haven't seen those numbers. Excuse me. And at the end of the day, again, I think it comes down to we're pretty hosed by the fact that we've locked ourselves into a binary system. I don't think, let me rephrase this. I look back at the beginning and how many political parties there were, and I know for a fact it wasn't supposed to be two political parties that are so powerful that doesn't matter. I mean, it matters, but it doesn't matter. And we talked earlier on, in Florida right now, there were GOP representatives who voted in a bunch of gun control. You can't just say, oh, this party is this, oh, this party is this. You have to look at your legislator. And you can't look at their campaign promises. You have to look at, if they're an incumbent, you have to look at what they've actually done. And if they've lied, if they said, oh, yeah, I'm pro 2A, and you find out that, oh, I'm pro 2A, but, or I just said what it took to get your vote, vote them out. All right? Knock them off the ticket in the primary. This great experiment in self-governance requires us to not be lazy. And if there's one thing that the modern American is, myself included, is lazy. We live, actually, I don't know, do any of you guys watch the Warrior Poet Society? If you don't, I highly recommend you at least check out a couple of John's videos and see if it fits your taste. He just had a video yesterday, he posted it yesterday, with another channel. They filmed it at SHOT Show, but it wasn't really about SHOT Show. It was called The State of Masculinity. And then he did one last year, something about toxic masculinity. And it just talks about how we live in an age of such ease, which is a blessing, that it's also made, as a whole, made us soft. Or maybe it just made me soft. I don't know. Okay. Big lack of communication on 2A. Yes. Dems voted against a red flag because people showed up to protest. They had been informed. Real vote takes place in. Well, that's good to know, Brastard. 2A seems a fashion statement between the snakes and the fashionista. I don't know. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, And what Brastard's saying there is what the hope was in Virginia, obviously. That we, the people, could come out in force, and the legislators, because in my mind, they've committed political suicide. I don't know how when 90 or 95, like, I don't remember what the percentage is, but the vast majority of the counties enacted Second Amendment sanctuary ordinances, how the legislator doesn't look at that and say, if my name's on this, voting for this, I'm out. There's no question, I'm out. Anyway, still, yes, Mateo, still watching SHOT Show coverage. We will be for at least 2 weeks. I'm still seeing things that I can't afford, which is, yeah, everything. Okay, so, actually, look, this is kind of an observation, kind of a question for those of you guys who understand how politics do work or are supposed to work much better than myself. And this is one where Elias would have been a good guest today. Also, I was gonna, well, he said, yeah, Josh, we've become complacent, no question. Elias said he was going to come back and rewatch this. I don't know. We're 47 minutes in now, so I don't know if he'll get this deep into it. Elias, if you do, I was going to put you on the spot. I want to know about episode 2 of the Liberty Review. I'm anxiously waiting. Just saying. These guys are too. Or at least I'm going to tell you they are. Anyway, back to the subject at hand. I saw yesterday that Michael Bloomberg has spent $60 million on campaign support for various candidates around the country, various pro-gun or anti-gun, pro-gun control, that's what I'm trying to say, between candidates and like Moms Demand Action, Everytown for Gun Safety, etc., etc. Can somebody please in the chat explain to me how a presidential hopeful can spend $60 million during an election year on campaigns other than his own, and it's not election tampering? Please? I legitimately, I mean, I guess Liberty works both ways. If I had $60 million, I guess I would feel like I had the right to spend it however I wanted to. But I'm also not a presidential candidate. I don't know. I need somebody with big brain time. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. But he doesn't look like a ginger. Ducks. Yeah, that's it. It really... I don't... It feels wrong. I don't know. Sometimes there's that thing where it's like, this isn't right, and I can't explain why it's not right, but I know, in my heart of hearts, I know that this is wrong. And then I have to ask myself, would I be saying the same thing if it was a pro-gun candidate who dropped $60 million between the Firearms Policy Coalition and the Gun Owners of America and Right to Life? So, I know. Yeah, I don't know. It's getting late. I'm tired. I'm really frustrated. It's weaponized ignorance. That's what it is. They scream for the children, just like the Nazis did, by the way. And they accuse us of being the right-wing Nazis. But and they just get everybody amped up on emotion, and then if you try to come in and use logic or facts, those don't count because they don't feel. And okay, angry. So okay, last political bit, and then we'll start talking. We'll talk about some hardware, and a disappointing subject to me, and some of you guys are going to have a good laugh about this, and most of you guys have probably already seen this. But anyway, the last thing, Delaware House Bill 277 makes it, I don't know, it says Class D or Class E felony. I think it depends on which portion of this bill that you would violate. But basically, if... Hang on, I'm trying to read through this. And maybe... it does not... Okay. So, here we go. Basically, they are making it illegal to have a scary ghost gun. Okay. So, I'm going to start right here. Wait. They have a synopsis. That's helpful. This bill establishes the crimes of possession of an unfinished firearm frame or receiver with no serial number, possession of and manufacturing a covert or undetectable firearm, possession of and manufacturing an untraceable firearm, and manufacturing or distributing a firearm using a three-dimensional printer. This bill also makes it a crime to possess a firearm frame or receiver with a removed, obliterated, or altered serial number. Wait, hold up. Isn't it already a federal crime to modify the serial number on your firearm? Loadingcat.gif or .jpeg or whatever. I should have downloaded that because I need to put that meme up right now. Alright. So what that means, if you're watching this from Delaware, if this bill becomes law, if you would like, because you prefer the grip angle, I like building things, okay? I don't do a lot of it, but I like, sometimes I weld things up and I just get the satisfaction of a job well done. It's what made this country great. I'm a tinkerer. I think a lot of you guys are tinkerers. Any of you guys who have built an AK, I know you're a tinkerer, or you just built a grenade that's going to blow your face off because the rivets aren't right, but I'm digressing. So if you want to purchase a Polymer 80 frame and you want to complete it because there's that satisfaction of, I made this, well, that'll be a felony, you see. Now, Polymer 80 does make serialized frames, and I would imagine you don't have to complete those. I don't know. So you could still do the grip angle thing. Or you can't 3D print one. Now, let's face it. With the 3D printed designs that I've seen, the only reason to 3D print a gun is to have one that's kind of off the books. But anyway, there are actually penalties in here for even possessing the computer files for 3D printing any part of a firearm or distributing them. So here's the thing. Delaware must not know how the internet works. Because, yeah, you can't stop the signal. If nothing else, what's to stop somebody from going out of state and going to a public library with a USB drive and using the good old sneaker net, how are you going to know? All right, and if somebody has decided that they're going to commit a crime already, does it matter what firearm they use? Which is, of course, the fallacy of gun control in the first place. Because if simple laws could dictate morality to make this all a moot point, then all we'd have to do is make murder illegal. At which point, those of you who aren't quite paying attention right now will say, but Blair, murder's already illegal. And I'd stare at you for a little bit until either you just felt sheepish or you realized your mistake. Okay. Yes, Mateo, manipulation of the system, 100%. Rockefeller did it back in the 1900s. I don't, look, I've read Ecclesiastes. I understand there's nothing new under the sun. Political corruption is not new. I understand that. Running against the Constitution is treason. I said last week, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, the crap that they're doing in, okay, maybe not 100 years ago, because they'd already passed the NFA, but you know, within the last 200 years, the crap they're doing down in Virginia, there would have been a rope, and that would have been the end of it. So, anyway, passing a law, it's already a law. Brilliant. Yeah. Oh, but then it looks like they're doing something. Yeah. Yeah. Cheer out, a 13-year-old girl got kangaroo. No, Josh, you could have not told me that, and I would have been just as happy. Yeah, fellas, I have a, hang on, got to do the math. I have a 12-year-old, and I might lose my gun rights if something like that were to happen to my daughters. Yeah. Okay. We're not going to talk about that. We're not going to. As a matter of fact, I've all the gun control stuff I'm putting back here. Crimes are becoming. It's a way to throw your opponents in jail if convenient. But the problem is, Josh, that we have become an oligarchy wherein those people are above the law. Hashtag Epstein didn't kill himself. And if you stumble across this stream and you don't understand why we're all so distraught about a pedophile or he who empowered pedophiles committing suicide, it's not because we think it's a shame. No, it's because his death protected a larger ring of these powerful people. Now, I think most of you guys who are watching this right now already know that. The guys who are interacting, the guys and gals, Vanessa, I know you were in here, interacting in the live chat, they already understand that. Honestly, I think most of the Pro 2A community understands that. Everybody who has repeated that understands that. We're not necessarily looking for justice for Jeffrey Epstein. It's justice for all of those victims where there's no testimony now. So, anyway, yeah, Josh, I would like to agree about being able to throw, but all of these people have somehow ended up above the law. We now have an oligarchy where we have the powerful few ruling over all of us peasants. And now they're working on the rest of it where they, we have to seek permission from the crown to have any kind of liberty. So, anyway, but those things that allow us to keep our liberty, the good old Second Amendment. KM Tactical. Yeah, absolutely. I'm always interested in looking at value alternatives. So I like to find those. And anyway, actually, what a perfect segue. What a just a beautifully perfect segue into talking about reliable equipment. Because Mark 18, we'll see, we'll see, and we'll understand that that's a sample size of 1. Let's talking about quality. You guys know where I'm going with this. You guys have read the title of the live stream. So if somebody comes up to me and they say, I'm going to be buying my first handgun, I don't want the cheapest thing, I don't have to have the most expensive thing, but I want something I know is going to be reliable. And no, I'm very honestly, I'm going to tell them to try to get to a rental range or to try to get friends together with different brands. But if they're going to press me for an answer right now, I'm going to tell them I would highly recommend that you go look at a Glock 43X and a Glock 19 and decide, just standing there in the store, if you can't go someplace where you can shoot it, see which one's more comfortable, because I have no qualms about recommending those. And I think the 9mm is a fabulous cartridge. There's been a lot of advancements, and yes, I know 45 ACP, 2 World Wars, 40 Smith & Wesson. We're not getting into the caliber debate. So, I like Glock. It's not that I dislike other things. I've only got one pistol right now, and it happens to be my Glock 23 that's been fully converted into a Glock 19. And the one and only time I have ever had any issue is when I was running the stainless steel 9mm conversion barrel when it still had the Glock 23 slide on it. It did not like aluminum ammunition, and as much as anything, I imagine that was something that had to do with the friction coefficient between aluminum and stainless steel. I could be wrong. That's the one and only time I've ever had any feed issues out of it. So anyway, I was very excited. Not gonna lie, I was excited when Glock announced the Glock 44. I think that the one thing that they really did wrong with that announcement is the way they hyped it up. So many people thought that they were going to announce an actual Glock pistol caliber carbine. They're talking about adventure and all of this, and then they announce a 22 long rifle pistol, and now I'm sure that was huge news in the rest of the world. 22 long rifle is huge over in Europe, as I've been led to believe, by people who have no reason to lie, including several Europeans outside of the YouTube sphere. And so I think that they probably should have rolled out different advertising for the United States, but I don't think that they were wrong in launching a 22 long rifle pistol. If you don't believe that there was a demand for it, take a look at the fact that people were paying $300 for conversion kits that were garbage, comes to mind. I'd never had one. Because I read the reviews and I looked at the price and said that's not worth my time and money. So anyway, the Glock 44 was launched, and it's physically the same size as a Glock 19. It'll fit in Glock 19 holsters. You can, in my case, if I'd need to put an APLC on it, and then I could use it in my carry holster. I could practice my draw stroke. I could have my kids and my wife shoot it and get them comfortable with the overall dynamics of using a Glock pistol. You know, I saw a lot of good about it. And coming in at, you know, $399 MSRP, expecting it to be around $350 street price. You know, it was a little bit more than a Taurus TX22, but I could see some advantages to it. So I was excited about it. And then I watched 22 Plinkster's video. And he was completely unable to get his Glock 44 to cycle reliably with any ammunition with a projectile weight lighter than 40 grain, which was disappointing. I think that the Remington Thunderbolt that I have, where's my range bag? One moment. It's 8,000 pound range bag. Too much crap. Let's just see. I think that these are 40 grain, so they would probably work. I don't know. I can't have a firearm on here. Am I allowed to have ammunition? I don't know. I probably better not. Where the devil? Yes. Yes, the cheap Remington Thunderbolt happens to be a 40 grain projectile, so probably would work. But when I'm out plinking, I just want to buy what's cheap. If it happens to be 36 grain, then that's what I want to buy. And I get that there's going to be no shoots. You know, it just, rimfire isn't the most reliable. I get that. I'm fine with that. But to not reliably cycle any ammunition at a certain projectile weight, that's, you know, even my AR-15s, they may not like super light or super heavy projectiles. It may not be accurate, but it'll at least go bang, right? Well, that was bad. I didn't like that. And then I started seeing things like this on social media. Now you'll see that I've screen capped this from Military Arms Channel's Instagram. But you see there a nice crack in the polymer on that slide and a missing extractor. Now the extractor rod's also in backwards, but I think that happened after the fact, because what happened was that extractor rod did that number, and I think it was just stuffed back in the wrong direction when they took the picture of the cracked slide. So yeah, that's just terrifying. And then, as if that wasn't enough, with Tim's Reach with Military Arms Channel, he was sent this later on today. So if you've never taken down the slide on your Glock, and you've never pulled the channel out of the striker out of the channel, you may not realize it, but that tab on the striker is squared off on a regular Glock pistol. Here, and let's just, you know, I failed you guys again. There's something that I meant to have ready and didn't have ready, and we'll get this though. Just making sure that you guys are on the same page as me. Boom. That. It's circled up there now. Where that's a triangular shape on this Glock 44 striker is usually squared off. And so you can actually see, if you look inside that wedge area, that it's starting to chip away at the sleeve, which is not the greatest thing. So as much as I really wanted a Glock 44, I think that when I purchase a 22 LR pistol, it will be a Taurus TX22, and it will come with 15 round mags, I think 15s or 16s instead of 10s, and it will come with a threaded barrel from the factory, and I just won't be able to put it in my holsters. Whatever. Okay. Brastard, if the Chinese import ban was lifted, we could have all sorts of cool stuff. CCI, Mateo, what were you asking about CCIs? I know that 22 Plinkster, I'm pretty sure 22 Plinkster was using CCI, yes. I used some CCI. I specifically bought this Remington Thunderbolt because it was the absolute cheapest thing that was on shelf, and I specifically bought it. If you guys go back and watch my CMMG Bravo, my 22 LR conversion for my AR-15, I was seeing if that would cycle the cheapest ammo that I could find. It did. I really like my CMMG Bravo, and I don't know how it does it, but my AR with the CMMG Bravo in it is quieter at the shooter's ear than my brother-in-law's M&P 1522. So, yeah. Excuse me. Mateo, are you okay? Do you need us to send somebody? Why do you hate yourself? Get a pair of front end nippers, like the front end wire cutters, and snip those off, and then you just sand it smooth. Do you need help? Alright, rather have the Taurus. Cheaply made isn't a big deal with 22 LR. Yeah, and here's the deal. The Taurus has been more reliable. Like I said, 22 Plinkster recommended the Taurus, and even the M&P, I don't remember the model number, the M&P 22 pistol, which my brother-in-law has one of those. Also comes with a threaded barrel from the factory, and it's the same money as the Glock. So yeah, they've really screwed the pooch on this one. There's no nice way to say it. They've screwed the pooch on this one. Oh, Mateo, you mostly use CCI. Yeah, I like CCI, and it's reasonably priced. It just, like I said, I wanted to go and find the cheapest crap that I could run. I mean, that Thunderbolt, it's exposed lead ammunition. So, oh, okay. So you don't need, you're not, I don't know, you're watching my channel, Mateo. I had to question whether or not you were crazy. So, yeah, guys, I've gotten through the list of things that I wanted to get through, except if you are in Kentucky, this Friday, January 31st, there is a 2A rally. The rally will begin at the Capitol Annex in the State Capitol building at 9 a.m. and will continue until 3 p.m. or 1500 for those of you who don't like dealing with two of the same time every day. Several speakers. I think Iraq veteran 8888 will be there. So yeah. Anyway, so if you're in Kentucky and you have the opportunity on Friday to get to the Capitol, go and speak up in support of your rights. I know Kentucky has some stupid gun laws in, I don't know if they're in committee yet, but they're at least, they've been introduced. And wherever you are, make sure that you are keeping abreast of your state organizations. Virginia has the VCDL, Indiana has the ICDL. I don't know if everybody has the Citizens Defense League, whatever, but there are statewide Pro 2A groups. I know in Indiana there are individual Facebook groups. Yes, I hate Facebook as well. I understand that. But what I'm looking for here is the link to the, there it is. See, guys, I just keep not having the things that I need. There it is. Spreadsheet for the list of Second Amendment Sanctuary Movement Facebook groups for Indiana just dropped in the chat. So yeah, make sure, and I don't have that information for other states. So Jonathan Piccone, I guess. Okay, Mod 18. Or Mark 18. I'm gonna copy that and paste that into a YouTube search right now. Then I can't forget, because I have YouTube tabs up for days, guys. I mean, I give people anxiety when they see how many YouTube tabs that I run. So, and what we're gonna do here is drop that back into chat, and there you guys go. That's that Jonathan Piccone. Randall, welcome. We're kind of winding down, but that's okay. I figure I'll stay on a little bit longer if anybody wants to hang out. But that's kind of, I got through all of my little post-it note kind of wannabe outline. Once again, if you guys know of Pro 2A groups in your areas, you can drop it into the chat. I'm fine with that. You know, you tell people, if it's a Facebook group, say Facebook group and at least the group name so that people can search and find it. Because guys, we've got to stand together. I'll grant that there are situations like Virginia where standing together did not give the desired outcome. On the other hand, it gives us that moral high ground where we can point back and say we tried to do this on peaceful terms. We tried to, excuse me, I'm not saying it's going to come to violence, but we can point and say we tried to do this the right way and you would not listen. So anyway, well, I'm glad you had a good checkup. So yes, Mateo, I am anxiously awaiting the PS9 dagger. I'm really hoping to just pick up a lower, because I have the actually right here, like in my range bag that I was just digging in. I can literally, I say that I've got so many empty cases. Oh, right there. I literally have a completed Glock slide in there from when I switched over to an optics ready slide. So I'd like to get $100 lower and have myself a second pistol. That'd be fantastic. Anyway, so okay, there you go. If you guys like angry conservatives, check out Jeremiah Talks. I've heard that channel name before. So, anyone, Delta Team Tactical. Randall, I think that I was warned away from Delta Team Tactical, but I won't swear to that either. It's one of those that I've looked at so many different brands and stuff. Bear Creek Arsenal is another one that I've just, it's kind of been one of those, their QC is so spotty. So, but you'll hear the same thing about Palmetto State as well. And I'm 3 for 3 right now, quality weapons from Palmetto State. There's 2 of them were build kits. So, you know, but let's just go right back to the Glock 44 situation. At minimum, several hundred rounds, ideally several thousand rounds through an individual firearm before you're willing to trust it with your life. Every company can have a bad one, and very, very likely you're dealing with a sample size of 1. It doesn't matter that 2AEDU has had good luck with nearly all of his Tauruses or all of his Tauruses if you get one that refuses to go into battery for a follow-up shot. All of the good luck that anybody else has had with a brand doesn't matter. The inverse isn't entirely true to say, you know, if you say, well, everybody else has had bad luck, but I'll be the one with good luck. I wouldn't count on that for a life and liberty gun. Sorry for the noise, guys. That's I don't know. I don't have all the money in the world. Okay, I'm not gonna tell you. You know, not gonna say that. Oh, if it's not HK, it's garbage. If it's not Knight's Armament, it's not any good. You know, I'm not gonna say that because you won't find any of that in my humble abode. Yeah, I mean, okay, I drive a Mini Cooper, but I also bought it 14 years used and did $1,200 worth of maintenance on it after I got it, turning the wrenches myself. So that is what it is. Anyway, so yeah, and then you're gonna go back and watch my videos. You're going to hear me say that all the time. There's things that I'm going to really put a strong stance on. And well, I don't intend on using an O-Light on anything Life and Liberty right now. I haven't had any issue, but I've also not put enough stress on one. And once again, a trainer that I trust has watched them fail and fail and fail in classes because they don't stand up to the recoil. Well, why would I not pay $20 more and get a Streamlight then? And that just is what it is. HK's slogan, because you suck and we hate you. Yes, don't be poor. So, Zeke, well, thanks for joining. I think we're really close to wrapping up. So good luck with the editing. I know that can be gross. Especially if you have a truncated MP4 and you really need the footage. And yeah, if you've ever got, guys, actually, let me just tell you, those of you who are content creators, feel free to at least shout out, I have a YouTube channel. That's fine. We've got to help each other grow if we're going to grow. Where was I going with that? Hang on. Oh, if you're a content creator and you have a camera or something or screen capture software or whatever that captures to MP4 and you run out of space or a battery dies and you have a truncated file, email me. Don't delete the file. I'm like 99% sure I can help you recover it, because I had to recover a freaking 27-hour long video with flashlight footage, and one of the lights died in the middle of it, so I had to have that footage to get that time, or I had to put more CR123s in a light. So yeah, tech support stuff, I'm more than willing to help you out. That's outside the purview of the channel, but if you hit me on Instagram or Facebook or or email me, that's fine. Speaking of Instagram and Facebook, there's that. If you're not following the channel, you should be. I've been a little slow on Instagram this week. I haven't had stuff to put up, but so see ya, Mateo. I didn't know Volvo was Chinese. I thought they were Scandinavian somewhere. Anyway, So anyway, yeah, social media up on the thing. Guys, if you are in a position that you'd like to help out a fellow creator and you want to head over and help me out on Patreon, I'd really appreciate it. I do try to give you at least 24-hour early access to the videos. But right now, other than that, it's just a, hey, thanks, and I want to help. I want to do more for my Patreon supporters. Just not really in the position right now to be able to do that. One day eventually I'll have some like channel sponsors and things where I can do that. See you 2A, thanks for joining. And I'm behind on 2A EDU videos, so I'm gonna have to check out those most recent ones. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for joining here tonight. I'm going to wrap it up too. It's 10:15 here in the Eastern time zone, and 5:30 comes awful early. So appreciate you guys listening into my ranting about stupid politics. Crap like this is the reason that I didn't follow politics for so long. I did vote. I voted, but I just didn't really grit in. But I think that if I would have gritted in and, if I would have found my voice earlier, who knows, maybe there's one or two people that I could have reached, and if they would have reached one or two, we wouldn't have slid to where we are. I don't know. I'm probably not that important or that persuasive, but I do now understand the duty that I have. And I appreciate it. I see from the chat you guys do too. So thanks for your contribution to the discussion tonight. More videos on the way. Till next time, shoot straight, stay safe.